Happy Star Wars Day, everybody! Would you like to make your very own Kawaii Jawa plushie? Jawa-ii plushie? Oh, stay tuned to find out how. Alright, so if you are using one of the library's free programs in a bag, I'll go through these with you. If you're not, you can still use these instructions. Pretty much everything that I buy here was from Amazon. Let's go through our bag to see what we got. So, first thing, you have a large brown piece of fabric. Well, I think it's about 12 inches by 29 inches. So, first thing you need is your brown fabric. I'm using fleece. You have yellow fabric. This is felt. You don't need very much because you're just making the Jawa's eyes with this. Then, of course, you're going to have your 2 cotton swabs. I like the pointed ones best for crafting. They're a little more firm, and you can also get more precision, and they're just not going to leave a bunch of cotton everywhere you go if you use a regular cotton swab. You need 1 black fuzzy sock. You're gonna need some, oh, it's polyfill, sorry, I couldn't remember the word. And an unmarked bottle of Bish's Tear Mender fabric glue. It's not too cheap to buy in a 1-ounce container, but if you're a library and you can buy a gallon container, plus the bottle, this is less than $1. We can take our sock, see how it's folded so you can see the heel and the toe, and this is the opening on top. We are going to cut off the top elastic piece to use later. This is going to be the Jawa's utility belt, and it's about a 1/2 inch we're going to do. So, got it, my measuring board here. There's 1/2 inch. There. All right, there we go. That looks like a hair tie, right? And I know it's gonna make a lot of fluffy mess, just like that. But eventually, it's not gonna put out so much. Okay, don't do what I just did. Eventually it's not gonna put out so much fluff. Okay, so you have that ready. Now the next instructions I have, if you are using our program bag, it says to start stuffing the sock. Well, I'm gonna do something a little different, something special before we start stuffing the sock. If you would like for your Jawa to stand up on its own, we're going to make a little thing for it to stand on. So I just took a couple pieces of cardboard here, and, well, I traced a jar of peanut butter, the lid on it. I just traced that, and then I cut these 2 out. That's all that it is. So if you need to know, see, this is about 2.5 inches diameter, and if you're metric, it's metric, that is about 6.5 centimeters. So I'm going to take this and some duct tape. It's going to hold it together, and I'm going to put this in first, just so my Jawa can stand up. Now, if you are using your bag, once again, I managed to do this back sheet here. Got a ruler, got a nickel, which you're gonna need later, and this is the size of these things, if you want it. Just gonna stick these 2 things together. How thick is this? It's about 1/2 centimeter thick and about 1/4 inch thick also. I chose duct tape because after watching lots of Mythbusters, I decided that if this for some reason needed to run the wash, maybe with the duct tape to seal it in, maybe it won't disintegrate in the wash because it's cardboard. It's just made out of paper, y'all. probably won't need as much as I am using right now. Do my nerves show, do they? Okay, the edges. We have a nice round disc. And this is gonna go first into the toe of the sock. So if you were putting this part in, you're going to feel for that toe seam. It's hard to see on camera, knows it's a black sock. But you're gonna feel for that toe seam, and see how my circle is? The toe seam is gonna be lined up with one of the edges of the little cardboard piece. Okay. Now back to what my instructions say, if you're following. Now we're gonna stuff it with the polyfill. And if you're using a bag, use all the stuffing if you can. The number one problem that people have with plushies, I've said it before, I've said it again, number one problem that they have is not using enough of polyfill. They want to like put in maybe this much. Is that enough? I've heard that many times when I've done this in person. No, that is not enough. So it doesn't take much. If you just buy the smallest possible bag at your local store or on Amazon, you should be fine. So, see that with that, how it's setting up on its own. So next thing you're gonna do, after you mash it down real good, we're going to tie it into a knot on top, and not just on top, kind of, this is gonna be in the back of the head, and it will help hold your Jawa's hood up. I'm just doing a balloon knot, wrap around the fingers. And there we go. And you can sculpt it, shape it if it's not quite right. See that? So this is the back of the head, this is the front of the head over here. All right, so now we can just put this guy aside. We'll put this guy aside for now. And we're going to focus on cutting up your fabric. So for the hood, you need it to be about 12 inches by 14 inches. So luckily, again, if you got the kit, it should already be about 12 inches this way, or close enough. Measurements don't have to be super exact here. But like I said, close enough. And you're gonna wanna cut, let's see, 14 inches. And that's gonna be just my 14-inch mark there. See, I'm not even bothering to mark it. You can mark it if you want to. If you feel like you wanna be precise, that is perfectly okay. So that's the hood side. Now the rest of this, basically what you're gonna do is we'll cut it in half, long ways like this, and one side of this will be the robe for the Jawa all the way around. So this is 6 inches this way, and go. Good. And about 8-10 inches the other way. About 17, 18. All right, so that's gonna be the robe. Now we'll take this. The sleeves are about 6 by 5 inches. So let's see. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cut a line here to 6. It doesn't have to be a super straight cut because we're going to fold in the seams here. There's our first sleeve. And repeat again. Into the 6 here. Okay, and that makes the other sleeve. Now the rest of this, you're going to use it later on. We're going to roll it up and glue it to top of his head and hold up that hood. There's also the little pockets that go on his utility belt. If you were lucky enough to have part of the seam on there. Leave on here. Yes. It's a little cheat you can do. So, I don't know how you can see the seam, but if we use the seam part to make the little pockets, it's already gonna look like there's a flap over it. If you'd rather not do it this way, that's fine. You can just make a little glue flap or just leave little squares. Go as detailed as you want to go. And I know I'm cutting this off the hood piece, but remember what I said? Measurements don't have to be perfect, just close enough. And I will cut this into pockets later. So, sleeves, hood, robe, and pockets, and belt. Let's start by creating the robe. So you need this, you need your glue. Now you can also use hot glue. That'll work even faster. This is probably the fastest setting fabric glue proper like this. It sets up in seconds. That's why I'm such a big fan of it. But you gotta be careful not to get on your clothes. It dries to like an opaque color, sort of a beige. They call it tea color, I've seen on the website. Now we're just going to make a seam. Oh, you could also sew this, of course. So everywhere you see me gluing something down, you could just sew it down as well. See what I mean about these pointed cotton swabs? There we go. Now, this has the consistency of water. Be careful with that. But you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot of it to make it stick. I'm just pushing it down here with my fingers. See that? And it sticks. And you know, if you don't want to make a seam on this, you are fine with leaving the edges a little rough. That's up to you. You're welcome to do that if you are impatient and don't mind a little bit more sloppy. Well, gotta think, Jawas, they live in the desert. They're working on machines. They're scavenging. They're probably not too concerned with having a nice clean line on their clothes. So maybe if you do it without the seams, it might be more authentic for a fictional character. It might be. There's that piece there. All right. So that's another option. You could do dots. I know I pulled it a streak before. And you can probably see here, this is about 1/4 of an inch-ish, maybe 1/2 an inch. Well, you know, I can actually measure right here. Ah, that one's 1/2 inch. Hard, if anything pops up, just go back in there with more fabric glue. There we go. And if you've made any marks, you'll find some marks on these if you got the free kit from the library, where I measured it out. Yes, I had cut every piece of fabric, every bottle of glue. It'll do a good job to hide those marks that I made. Let's see, there's a little bit of a sticking out part here. Fixed. All right. Last seam. All right, and then once this is finished gluing, we're going to stick it to the Jawa there. All right. Like that little hole, so I'm just gonna cut it off. That's okay, because you're not gonna see this side. You're just gonna see this lovely side. All right, so make sure you have your Jawas shaped how you want them. Mine was a little top heavy there. There we go, that distributes it a little better. Oh. Come on, Mr. Jawa, there we go. All right, so decide which part is your top and your bottom of the robe and which part's gonna be your front. Remember, front is over here, and the notch is in the back. So I kind of just lay it on here this way, or see what I mean? Or this way, if you will. Okay, so we have it kind of centered on here, and decide which end is your prettier end, and that's going to be the front part of the row because this is going to cross over like that. So let me see which side. I think I like this side a little better. So I'm going to take this, like I said, line it up with the bottom here. And then let's put more glue on here. And fold it over, press, and flip the other side over. There we go. And now closing it shut. And lining her up. And press again. You don't have to push as hard as I am pushing. I'm just trying to emphasize. If you press it, it'll set a little faster. See? It's not coming off. All right, next thing we're gonna do now is the sleeves. So same thing for about maybe 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch inward. If not, you can always adjust. Again, and start to get an idea of what part you want to be the bottom, because you're not going to see the top, and the sides will be hidden here. So make sure your prettiest seam is the one that's going to be at the bottom, because that one's going to show. The hood will hide the rest. Okay. All right, there's that. I might just cut this so you don't have to watch me do the second one. I just snap my fingers. All right, see, there we go. Now we've got 2 of them. Okay, next step, we're gonna fold these inward. So when you have the sleeve completed, you want it to be about, looks like 1.5-ish to 2 inches, somewhere in there. There's one sleeve. Now granted, this is probably gonna look a little rough at first, but remember, the hood's going to come around and cover it. It's going to look amazing. And just different enough so Disney doesn't see me. Alright, so folding it inward. Again, I want to make sure these guys match up. Okay, and we have sleeves. So, go back to our Jawa. Remember where the back of the head is with this knot. And now I'm just going to put these on either side. I have to put them a little higher up. You don't want to have the sleeves all the way to the ground. That's not what Jawa looks like. And you might want to pull this up a little bit. So you can turn this off if you like, if yours is a little bit too much. Or you can just glue it on, and once again, the hood will forgive you. I'm going to be a rebel here. Let's just a little bit here. Oh my god, sorry. Of course, your raw edge is going to go on top. Okay, yeah. That looks better, doesn't it? Okay, so now more glue. Go and press. All right, see, it stayed. Now for the other one. And again. That looks good. And press. There you go. It still doesn't look like a Jawa yet, but it's gonna happen, I promise. All right, so our next step here, we're going to use that scrap piece of fabric here, and I'm gonna roll it up. Maybe I won't use all of it. You don't want it too thick. Basically, just gonna roll it up. Okay, this feels good. That feels like a good amount. Again, if I'm leaving everything out, be sure to put it below the screen as I edit it. Okay. So there we go. Looks like a cigar, doesn't it? So we're going to take that. It's about 7 inches-ish, for those of you who are wondering. And just very sloppily here, putting lots of glue on one end. This, I'm going to stick it to the side of the knot. I pressed a little too hard there, did you see that? All right, let's hope it sticks. Okay. If not, there's more glue. Same thing, lots of glue sloppily applied to this side. And see how it's arching over the knot? There. Now it even looks less like a Jawa, but the hood will change everything, I promise. See, there we go. All set up. Now, it's time to make that hood. I might cut out all this gluing because guess what I'm going to do again? I'm going to fold it in so it makes clean lines again. All right, so, tell you what. Hey, there we go. Now we're all done with the seams. So next we're going to do it whichever way is the longest. And frame it around the Jawa's face. And see, it's going to come over and hide the top of the sleeves. Just bring it around kind of like this. Oh yeah, there's a little glue showing on that side. Okay, kind of get it centered here. There we go. Ooh, looks like the Grim Reaper. Fun fact here, I originally designed this to be the Grim Reaper and do that as a plushie program. And it didn't get approved. No big deal. But if you wanted to, just turn the brown robes to black. And instead of doing our big eyes, maybe you want to cut out a skull shape. There you go. Welcome to do it on your own. Okay. Alright, so you see I've got it lined up here, but even with where the robe is here. So, next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure also that it's covering the tops of my sleeves. So I'm going to glue that down too. There we are. And other side, just for good measure. Okay. Ooh. Now I'm going to flip it over and we're going to pay attention to the back. Oh, part came off. That's okay. Let's be tight enough that it'll probably be sticking soon. So, kind of bring it together like this, and I try to perfect where that point's going to go, because we want that hood to come out over the eyes a little bit, because nobody knows what a Jawa's face really looks like. There have been some Star Wars Legends novels that kind of tried to make up something for that, but Disney decided that that wasn't correct. So you never know what's under that hood. So I'm lining that up. I'm going to make sure I've got plenty in the front, wherever my little point is. And then I kind of try to make these lines even here. And glue that into place next. And then same over here with this. And press again. Okay. Oh, see, I got a little bit of glue on there, and it's probably gonna dry like that. But you could take a round Sharpie and try to cover that up if you need to. Or if you have a very thin, tiny pair of like embroidery scissors or manicure scissors, you might be able to just trim it off the top if you're a stickler like that. This is the back of his head. I'm not gonna worry too much. I wanna keep that point nice, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to fold this in. Create that point, and I'm going to glue that into place too. And again, I'm going to try to keep the seam down here even and about the same. So, let's see. Start up here with the corner. Glue it into place. On the back. Now for the front, I'm just going to take that point, push, let me pull this back so you can see. And the point we did, make sure that point fits nicely into that point of the hood. That'll hold it up. And then from here you can kind of gather it back until you have the hood about where you want it. I like to get some cute little artistic folds in there like this. I think it looks cute. Now to hold your hood in place, guess what we're gonna do? More glue, you're right. So, I'm looking in here, trying to imagine where my eyes are going to go, where I want my hood to fall. Take this glue way up here. Here we are. All right, so now it's starting to look more like a Jawa. So the next step is going to be cutting out the eyes. So you're going to need your yellow fabric and a nickel, or a nickel-sized coin, or the cutout in the instructions. Trace 2 of them for the eyes. I'm using a Sharpie so you can see my lines a little better, but you can use a Sharpie too. Just try to make sure that you cut off all the Sharpie marks around there so it's not showing. Even if you're deciding to sew this part, you really might want to consider using that glue. Just, you don't want any seams on your eyes. I'm gonna put that aside. I'll get back to that. Just remembered I have to do the utility belt. So I could have just stretched this across his body before, but I feel like it makes it pucker. then what I do from here, I take this part that we discarded in the beginning, and I just cut it in half, cut it open. There we are. And more fuzz is flying. So now we're going to figure out which armpit do you want it to be high up on, which one do you want it to be lower. And we're just going to glue that into place too, one side at a time. So, lots of glue. It would probably have been a better idea for me to put glue in the armpit directly. That's okay. I'm going to put it up high on this side. Really stick it well into his armpit. No. All right. Good thing this is stretchy. So now we're gonna take the other end and put it lower, like that. We'll glue that into place. You might need to give the armpit part a little bit more time to set than what I'm doing here, but for where I'm sitting at while I'm filming this, Star Wars Day is tomorrow, and that's where I need to have these instructions up. So there we go. Have it diagonally from his armpit to the lower part of his arm. And yes, you're gonna get some of this fuzz like that. Now turn them over. And you have to remember which side was high. So on the same arm, that's gonna go in the armpit. And then same arm, that's gonna go low. You might wanna glue it from the side so you can try to line it up as best you can. Learn from my mistake and put the glue directly into the Jawa's armpit. Pinch and set. Alright. Now I know that Jawa's belt is actually brown like the rest of his suit, but this makes it pop a little more. I feel like that you can see it, see the actual detail. Otherwise, you might as well have just left him plain. And did not learn from my mistake. Where it's about the same as on the other side, and press. There we go. So here's his sash. Now for those pockets, I think this looks good here. So I'm cutting these off. They're kind of squarish to oblong. Again, put as much detail in that as you want to. So it looks like the one I just cut is about 1/2 inch by 1/4 inch maybe? Or no, 1/2 and 1/2. So I would do at least 3 of these. You can add more. You can go all the way around on his belt if you like. I'm gonna do 4. 4 looks like I'm trying a little harder than just the minimum 3. But do what you like. Try to keep these about the same size. Okay. And now this is going to go on the front of the utility belt here. Here's the little part holding down from the seam. Looks like a pocket. Ah, that way. So a little bit of glue there. Smush it down here. You know, I've been using the same end of the same Q-tip for this whole thing. You can do that if you want. It's usually how I end up rolling when it comes to this kind of stuff. I usually end up just using one of the Q-tip, and I don't know if you can see that. It looks rough. Okay. Try to keep them evenly spaced if I can. Again, not too much glue because it's watery, it'll soak through and you'll see that tea color. Okay. It's even more like a Jawa now, right? Just need those eyes. So, again, did the tracing, cut those out. Trying real hard not to show. If you use Sharpie, try not to keep that through cut. I'm trying to cut on the inside of the line here. Are you still there? Because I'm guessing you may have seen where this is going and just stop the video. If not, if not, thanks for keeping watching. Okay, maybe trim it a little bit. A little roundish. And really just take your two pieces, put them together. Since the eyes are very prominent on the Jawa, you want the eyes to be almost as close to exactly the same size as you can possibly go. As close to exactly the same shape as you can go. It's just something I do, put them together. Look for little places where they're uneven and trim as needed. Still looks nickel sized. So now, I'll try to tip this up so you can see what I'm doing. That's right, you put glue on the eye. Put one on my left, probably your right. And one on the other side. I'm just gonna shape this hood around its eyes as we can. There's our Jawa, isn't he cute? All right, I hope you've enjoyed doing these plushies with me. I love making them. I love them. If you go to this library, I would love to hear more ideas, what kind of plushies you'd like to see me do. And, well, actually, we're gonna do more plushies in the summertime. We're gonna make some flower power flowers. So me and the Jawa, we're saying goodbye. See you next time. My body.